Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Karen Vadnais, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind successful startups, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future expansion. Today, we're excited to have Erwan Le Corre, the founder of BreathHoldWork and future AI tech founder, joining us. Erwan will be sharing more about his founding story and giving us a glimpse into his plans for future growth. So let's jump right in, Erwan. Welcome to Founders Future.
Thank you, Karen. Pleased to be here.
Of course, we are pleased to have you on. So I like to take us back to the beginning for our listeners. What motivated you to start Breathhold Work, and how did your experience with MoveNat influence this new venture?
All right. So breathful work is a method it's basically meditation under pressure. It's a way to meditate. It's a way for what I call neuron sovereignty. So it's neural regulation. It's a way to really be in tune with your mind and with your emotional self, but by not by removing the stress around you, but actually by holding your breath, which is quite unique. So then you create a stress, and as you feel stressed, the response is yours. It's for you to create, and you can create a response that is anchored in trust, in confidence, in patience, and composure. So this is an evolution from my original method, which was and still is MoveNat, which is let's say, a school of physical education for the real world. It's a fitness that's extremely natural and practical. So I've always been an entrepreneur. In fact, I remember when I was a kid, a preteen, I would be selling cherries or walnuts, depending on the season, in the neighborhood. So let's say entrepreneurship is part of my DNA.
Amazing. So it started way back then, and you're still doing it here today. And it
Yes.
sounds like you're creating something that is very pivotal for most people, right? They need this in their lives. And so it's a really beautiful thing that you're doing. And so I want to go into kind of like the nuts and bolts of the offering that you provide. And so can you walk us through your ideal customer for Breathhold Work, or maybe the people that you love to work with or attract into your world? And what is the core offering and service? I know you have a master class and an upcoming e-course as well that we could dive into.
Yes. People who are, it's always those who are interested in personal development and self-growth. That it is from the physical perspective, improving their movement, improving their physical well-being, or in the case of breathful work, it's very interesting because it has clear physiological benefits for your health. Because when you hold your breath, you are actually triggering a response from your body that says, "Oh, we need more oxygen." It's going to actually help your body oxygenate way better than it ever did. But it's also about making your mind more clear, more sharp, making your emotional self more stable, more resilient. Okay, so what are those benefits? There are benefits of the self. It's not about anything outside of you, something you like a product or a service that you could acquire from the outside. It's about within, it's about how you feel within. And so this may seem to be intangible, but it's actually extremely tangible. It's maybe the most tangible part of our lives is what we cannot really touch, but we can instantly experience. So I'm a creator of systems, of methods, and then ultimately becomes a brand, a company that are designed, it's in their DNA, is to help people, is to help people
Mm.
feel better, do better, move better, think better, have a better life. So that's the ideal, let's say, person. There are those who genuinely seek effective ways on their journey, something that is maybe more potent than just, let's say, reading a self-help book and putting it back on the shelf, but not taking action. So through my systems, there are many exercises that it is natural movement. So you learn techniques to move better. With breathful work, you learn techniques to breathe better, breathe with more power. You learn techniques to be able to hold your breath while maintaining inner mastery, inner composure, mentally and emotionally. Well, so all this participates to self-growth and personal development, whatever you want to call it, it's the same. And even my AI project is based on that exact same idea.
Mm.
So I guess the way for me of conducting business, of creating a business concept in the first place, it's always about how could this help people live a better life?
I love that. This has been absolutely fascinating. I've personally had my own experience with breath work. I'm sure some of our listeners have as well, but it sounds like what you're doing is it's different than just breath work. It's a bit more expansive and ways that you can use it in your everyday life to bring it a little bit more intense than just your average breath work, which is very interesting. And so I'm curious when it comes down to acquiring customers for breath hold work. I know you have a website, but what has been most effective for you? Is it networking, social media, partnerships? What does that look like for bringing people into your world?
That's a very interesting question, and it might be very unique in that regard because it's all organic for me. And that's the way I like it. And I'm not saying that I'll never do paid ads and things like that. But so far, I'm blessed by
Mhm.
word of mouth is literally satisfactory to me. Why? Because especially in this world of very advanced technology and advancing so exponentially fast, the human authenticity is going to really has increasing value, in my opinion. And technology is wonderful, but the things that have enabled me to, for instance, spread the word about breathful work first is my organic following, people who follow my work. And before I even officially launched breathful work, they were already interested. They were already asking me, how can we learn about that? Because what you're doing is new, is different, and it seems fascinating and highly beneficial. How could we too learn this? So I started to create a method for that reason. I have done a some important podcast, for instance, the one with one of my former students, well, still a practitioner of breathful work. His name is Rangan Chatterjee in the UK. He has a very big following, very big a podcast that I was honored to be part of. Those events boost audience, and you don't need to create an ad or to pay for visibility. And I'm even on social media for now. I'm not saying it's not going to change, but for now, it's still minimal. It's not like I'm posting every day. I don't feel compelled with the need of doing that. And the next thing that I'm working on now at the moment is a book about it. So that will be my second published book. And I know that book is going to be a bestseller, and that will absolutely boost interest. And if
Mhm.
we're thinking in terms of business, then yeah, it will also boost sales for sure. It goes hand in hand. But my
Yeah.
thinking is always first, always the quality of my offer, the uniqueness of it. It has to be novel. It has to be unique. I don't do anything that's other people have done, or I would never do it the same way. It has to have a very strong component of novelty, and then
Mhm.
it's the way it's delivered, and that alone normally fosters success.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. It sounds like you've found a few things that have worked for you in that area. And I talk with entrepreneurs every single day who have referrals, do word of mouth in order to bring in more of that lead generation. And it's great because that's a warm lead. But what a lot of them find is that it can be unpredictable, it can be hard to scale. And so I'm curious what your experience has been with that and what the future looks like for you and what you have to do moving forward if that is something that you do want to scale.
Yes. All right. What is obviously completely undeniable is the necessity for visibility. And there are different ways of approaching that. Different, and you have a lot of people online who sell their like unique way of generating leads and sales and all of that in this marketing world. You know, what's called personal branding. Most important is authenticity. Be a real human with a real mm, quality or value about what who you are and what you offer, what your message is. Offer solutions for people. There's nothing new about that, but it's still and always relevant. Actually, I do believe that it's going to become increasingly more relevant than ever because people are going to very quickly get bored with the lack of authenticity of anything that's AI generated. For now, it's exciting, it's new. So look at those videos, look at this, look at that. And there's going to be a point very soon where people are going to be like, okay, and then what's next? What's the next step into making things look real or this reality? It's in-person contact, or it's at least true messaging from a true human person. So I'm going to keep going in that direction and certainly deliver more content on social media. That's my plan. I'm organizing to do that. The agentic web is on its way and it's going to be here in no time. And that's also going to change a lot. The new SEO is GO, whatever we call that for. It's basically SEO for AI platforms for being found by AI platforms. So this is very important from the technical standpoint. Anyways, my team is working on that for me. Yes. And but I think the next big evolution, and that's gonna be a little crazy to say that, but for me and people who are like me, people who are teachers, coaches, guides, whatever you want to call that, is to replicate themselves. And now we're entering a bit of the weird part of anticipating what the near future is going to be because of or thanks to the new technologies that are available.
Yeah, no, that all makes sense. And on that note of talking about your team, what does like the customer journey look like? Let's say I'm coming in, I want to be able to either work with you or be within your breath hold work course or program. And so, what does that look like from someone discovering breath hold work to enrolling in a program like your workshops or your online course? And how is your team structured, especially for marketing and selling breath hold works programs? How does that all work?
Today, you don't need a big team to do big things anymore. With especially with AI tools, you can have literally, if you want, one assistant doing so much for you with just those tools. But from the student perspective, accessing either, by the way, the e-courses on movnat.com, we have a whole portfolio of e-courses. This has this has been really an increasingly big market since COVID, where people realized how much they could basically do still from home, from a computer. So we start to do more of these e-courses and people study on in e-courses. So the BreathHoldWork Masterclass e-course is no different. And it's made of more than 100 videos in 4 modules. So what's the experience like? You sign up, you log in, and you start studying video one, video two, video three, and you learn. And there are insights and there are lots of exercises that you do, breathing exercises, breath holding exercises, meditation, visualization exercises. And it's a way of knowing yourself that is more advanced than, again, reading a self-help book, because the self-help book, you're reading and you're not necessarily practicing anything
Mm,
unless you choose to. Whereas when you enter my e-course, you're invited to
mm,
practice right away. I'm like, okay, now you're going to do this, now do that, now do this,
right.
now listen to this insight. That's the science. Now listen to that insight. That is my transmission. So there is transmission and transference. Transmission is What I'm doing now, I'm just talking and I'm sharing insights. And transparency is like literally, okay, now you do this. And I'm teaching you, you're learning. That's really passing on to you the actual knowledge, not just from the standpoint of your mind considering an idea, but actually generating a real experience within yourself. This is the most important in any personal development. Yeah, sometimes you can have one insight that gives you an epiphany and it's going to transform your life. That's if you're lucky. In most cases, it's a day-to-day practice where you have to always consider either new ideas or the same old ideas, but you still have not fully integrated. So the consistency of the practice is very important. And by doing an e-course, you it's like here you're watching someone talking on a video. Well, it's the same, except that it would be me, but teaching you how to breathe with ease, with power, with mindfulness, how to also investigate your mind and pay attention to your mind. There are diverse ways to do that. And so the next step with AI is going to be something even different than that.
I'm curious. I'm sure our listeners are as well as to what that next step will be like. But this has been extremely powerful. I love everything that you have said and everything that you're doing.
Thank
And
you.
so I'm curious if you had to identify one thing, if solved, would make the biggest impact on Breath Hold Work's growth, what would that be for you?
That would be AI companion.
Hmm,
That's what it is. That's what's next.
that is
And
what's next. Okay.
yes, and that's very obvious. Even though that's very obvious, if you are into AI more than just doing prompting, like basic prompting, which is
Mm,
now 1 billion users for OpenAI, ChatGPT, 1 billion members.
mm,
Same with Meta AI. What does that say? A huge chunk of mankind has access to AI for search, for just basic stuff. But but even around me here in the USA in 2025, very few people are even aware of what's coming in just it's just around the corner, such as the agentic web, how they're going to be able to literally talk to the web, talk to your computer to get
mhm,
what you want. Hey, I want to go on a trip for a week. I want that destination. This is the kind of activity I want to do. Find me a hotel, find me a plane ticket, find me this, find me things to do, suggest something. Okay.
mhm,
All you have to do is to verbalize your expectation for that new kind of web to give you ideas. That's
mhm,
going to save a lot of your time. Okay. Now you are talking to what's called a companion or an agent, and that agent will talk back to you. All right. Now, if you read a book, a self-help book, your goal is self-development. It's self-growth or personal development. Basically, you want what? You want to invest some of your time, some of your energy, maybe some of your resource into growing who you are. Why? Because you want an improvement. You want to feel better, think better, feel better, do better. You want to have a better life. That's what it is. And you could improve your external circumstances, buy a new couch, buy a new car, something, new clothes, new hairdo, and feel better about your life. But that relies on everything external. If you improve you, then it's part of you. It's a new you, and that's instant, and that's hopefully forever. And you can keep doing that all the time. Alrighty. So if you read a book, you read the book does not talk to you, and the book is not really asking you to do anything.
right.
It's giving you insight. All right. Now you do an e-course. You have videos. Now you listen to, you see the person, you hear the person, you can have a sense of their energy, of their intention, and most importantly, you're invited to consider insights like in a book, but also to do practice. That becomes more real. But the video is still not talking back to you. So if you
Mhm,
have a question, you may not know that the answer to your question is literally in the next video or in the next 10 videos or You may not be able to interrupt the person who's doing the video. It's very simple. But now imagine that would be possible in some way. So basically, you could interact with the avatar of a teacher.
Interesting.
So that means that you could have the face and the voice of the person perfectly replicated. Sorry about that. Maybe a confirmation from the universe. And that may seem like something scary, but at the same time, that we like it or not, it's the future. And it will start that you are seeking self-growth and personal development or not. It's going to
Right.
happen for practical reasons already. Again, the agentic web is going to do that for you. Means you will go online instead of typing something on Google, which we've been doing for 20 years now, or more than that. You are going to literally start talking and say what you want. And both your hardware technology, say for instance you're on a Mac, that will be already AI improved. On top of that, every platform, any platform you'll be on will be AI improved, AI enhanced, means delivering for you more and faster. Okay.
Mm.
How does that, what does that translate to in terms of self-growth? Well, printed book are not going to evolve. Websites where you read articles, it's still going to be there. But again, there is a certain level of static in there. It's like static. It's not really dynamic. What
Right.
would be the ideal situation? The ideal situation would be that you would have access with, say, three different people, real people in your life. They would come to your living room and you can do 1 hour of maybe psychotherapy, 1 hour of life coaching, 1 hour of whatever spiritual development, prayer, mantras, breath work, things like that. And you would do that every day. Imagine how this would transform you if you had access to this. But the reality is that it's not affordable
Hmm.
for most people.
Right.
Okay. So they have to figure out by themselves. So again, they can buy the self-help books, they can read the articles on the web, they can do the e-course, and that's powerful. And then you have apps where you can do some practice. So you can do a breathing exercise, you can do a guided meditation. The next step will be that you are interacting with an AI companion. So basically, it's like interacting with a person, except that person is, of course, artificial. But it looks like someone, it sounds like someone, and it's emotionally attuned. It's able to hear you, see you, thanks to OCR, and feel you and to know you, and to basically help you align psychologically and emotionally and help you practice yourself and give you feedback in real time. Imagine if you had the ability to access that anytime you want from
Hmm.
home, and you could do 2 hours a day of it, 3 hours a day of it. And so that could, let's say that could be me, and I'm your coach, and you have basically a replication of me directly there. So you can do two things now. You still can learn through the videos, old school. You still can read my book, old school. And by the way, when I say old school, it's with actual real respect for the value of everything, whatever were the way that we did things. You can also sign up one of my retreats, one-on-one, or I mean, in a group, real, authentic. And this is all great. But all of that may not be accessible to everyone at all times. But being from home and doing the exercises and being heard and seen by my replica, my avatar, and being told, oh, okay, you could breathe a little slower here. Relax your face. Do this, do that. And how are you feeling now? Would you like to do more? Would you like to take a break? etc. Okay.
Yeah.
And the more you interact with that companion, the more it knows you, the more emotionally attuned with you, the more it can help you evolve psychologically, evolve emotionally, even literally evolve spiritually. It's just a new way of doing it.
Hmm.
But there's
Absolutely. Yeah.
something very important to this that I have not mentioned yet, and that's called sovereignty. My system will not be cloud-based. It will be sovereign, means local, means that imagine that you're going to confine intimate things about yourself. Where is that information going to? If you go with the big players and it's all cloud-based, means they can track that. They're going to say, oh, you have your, not to worry, we have confidentiality. It's not true. They're lying to you. So the sovereign side of the technology is going to be very important. Means that to have the absolute guarantee that whatever you share is completely personal and does not go anywhere. It
Mm.
cannot be exploited by any third party. It cannot be sold to anyone. It cannot be shared in any way.
Wow. Wow, that's so interesting. I think that will be very powerful moving forward from breath hold work to AI integration to whatever the future holds for this. This has been absolutely fascinating. And I hate to cut us short, but that does wrap up another inspiring episode of Founders Future. And I want to thank Erwan for sharing his incredible journey and insights with us today. You can check him out and his work at Breath Hold Work and also following him on X as well. And do you have Instagram too?
Yes, of course. We
Yes.
have Instagram. I have Instagram for myself, Erwan Le Corre, for MoveNat, and for BreathHoldWork, and
Amazing.
soon for the new platform that I have hinted about.
Yes.
And we are currently incubating the project, but open to partnership.
Yeah. Beautiful. To our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe to Founders Future wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. You can also find more resources and insights at closers.io, where we're dedicated to helping businesses accelerate their sales and marketing efforts through world-class systems and playbooks. Until then, keep climbing, and we will see you on the next one.